I also had the opportunity when I would meet with these groups to share with them what is going on in the Society of Jesus in other parts of the society or in other conferences. So for example, there is very little awareness and very little information that has percolated down to other parts of the society with regard to the Fe y Alegría network and collaborative vision of doing education, as is done in Latin America. The Fe y Alegría schools of Latin America have transformed completely the way Jesuits work, first among themselves, and also Jesuits collaborating with other religious and with other women and men of goodwill. Many a time in places like in Africa or in Asia, people were hearing about Fe y Alegría for the first time and became very interested, wanted to know more, wanted to get in touch with them, and so on. Similarly, I would communicate with them some of the best practices that were happening in collaboration, for example, in Australia or in the United States or in several parts of Europe where there is a lot of collaboration going on already. So I saw part of my function as also a messenger carrying these best practices from one part of the society to another, so that those parts of the society where collaboration was rather new or was being strengthened, they could pick up some of the good practices or best practices in other parts of the society where this work has been going on for several decades now. Another aspect that I realized was very valuable and very important was the aspect of the formation of our collaborators and of the Jesuits. I think the formation programs have to touch both the Jesuits as well as what we call the others. The Jesuits cannot assume that thanks to their long formation and good education, etc., that they are now natural collaborators. And it is the lay people who have to learn to collaborate. That is not the case. In fact, the Jesuits, as much as the lay people, have also to be learners in this process. In fact, sometimes I wondered whether Jesuit formation, the way it has been done traditionally, the 12 odd years that we do in formation, really whether they train us for collaboration. I have a faint suspicion that they do not. In fact, they train us to be very good leaders as individual Jesuits, maybe as pioneers, but not as team members. And so often I would hear feedback from Jesuits and also from lay people reflecting on Jesuits, saying that Jesuits themselves find it difficult to work with one another. So perhaps they need to look at this deficiency, if I may call it, so that they can improve on this before we invite lay people also to be partners with us. This, I felt, was an important insight, that therefore Jesuit formation itself has to undergo some drastic changes right from the novitiate onwards until the ordination and tertianship. This would call for some serious reflection in Jesuit circles. Lay people were eager also to know more about Jesuit heritage. Often they would say to me, "We have worked for many years with Jesuits, but we know very little about how Jesuits function, what is the heritage, what is the Ignatian vision with regard to the work that we are doing. When I would ask the Jesuits why they thought this was happening, often they would say they feel inadequate to communicate this Jesuit heritage or Ignatian heritage onto the lay people. They were more comfortable to talk about the Ignatian vision, etc., among Jesuits. But when they would have to step aside and communicate this message in a different language to lay people, they would find it more difficult. Therefore, all the more reason I feel we need to evolve new formation programs, training programs for Jesuits as well as for lay people. There are in place already some excellent programs in conferences where collaboration has been going on for several decades. As I said earlier, the United States has prepared some good modules for training of lay people and Jesuits. And they use these modules all the time. In the course of the year, they invite Jesuits and lay people to undergo a certain amount of ongoing formation. Similarly, in Europe, there are several Jesuit provinces. I can mention a few, like for example, Loyola province in Spain, Betica province in Spain, France, Irish province, the British Irish province, now in collaboration with Holland and Belgium, are working on formation programs very successfully, and they get a good response from lay people as well as from Jesuits. So maybe we need to transfer some of this so-called technology, if I may call it so, onto other conferences like in Asia and in Africa, so that they can start building formation programs suited to their culture of collaboration, but incorporating Ignatian principles and values. This, I think, is another big challenge for the society and for the future secretaries in collaboration and who are working on this aspect of mission. Formation programs also in countries that do not have a heavy Christian cultural tradition becomes difficult. So for example, to work out Ignatian formation programs in parts of Asia where other religions dominate, like Hinduism, for example, or Buddhism, or Islam in Asia and in Africa, would be a real challenge for Jesuits. And I think from what I heard from the lay people who come from different other religious traditions, they say they're very open to hearing about the Ignatian heritage and about Jesuit values, etc. But they would need to incorporate it or embed them, so to speak, within their own cultural and religious values. So therefore, interreligious formation programs, interreligious dialogue, intercultural programs would be of great value. As I said earlier, the United States already has worked out programs because some of their participants are not even Christian. They are, for example, Jews, or they have now more recently Muslims or some Hindu migrants, etc. So they are already wrestling with these issues and problems of formation programs that can be more inclusive rather than exclusive. What would be the future of this collaboration agenda? As we know, Father General has recently written a letter in April of 2014 whereby he's once again restructuring the secretariats, and he's emphasized in this letter that it might be now, the stage might have arrived where this work should happen more in the conferences and not so much in the Curia at Rome. I think this is a step in the right direction. This has come out of our own reflections with Father General and the Council after we have been working here in the Curia and also in the conferences. If the work of mission is focused a lot more at conference level, which would also incorporate the conference president and the local provincials, I think the work would move a lot faster and more meaningfully and also be adapted to the local cultures. And that, I think, is very key. From Rome, what could be done is there could be a kind of a coordination done. And as Father General has rightly said in his letter, he's now appointed Father Grummer as a coordinator for mission. And maybe this coordinator then can make sure that information is circulated around the whole society on collaboration and on mission. I think that is where the future lies. And so this would be now the next stage in this evolving vision of Father General on mission.